Good morning. How's everyone doing? Fantastic. Looks like we're live. Looks like everything worked this morning. How's everyone doing? Welcome to Pixel Chatter number, what are we on? Number 67. Look at that, number 67. I'm just starting up my YouTube on my phone so I can monitor the chat, because that's how I have to do it now, but it looks like we're all good here. Okay, get that up and running. Come on, phone, connect. There we go. Good stuff. Who have we got in the chat box? Let's have a look. Good morning, Brian. You were nice and early, buddy. Good to see you here. Aussie Paul, g'day, buddy. Rick, g'day. Ozolox Box, hello. Bit damp this morning. Nice and foggy here this morning. Tim Trim, hello. It's just raining up there, is it, for a change? But Gianni, how you going? Tommy Halberg, g'day, buddy. Richard Hovland from Sandalford, g'day, Richard. Phoenix, good morning. Michael Power, good morning. Great to have you all joining in for the live stream this morning for Pixel Chatter number 67. I hope your week has been great, or your 2 weeks. It's been a couple of weeks since we've met, but I've been a little bit crook this week. Had a bit of a lurgy, bit of a mild man flu. Don't know. It seems to be going around a little bit at the moment, but that happens. And so I'll see how I go getting through today's show. But I'm feeling much better this morning. It's been a bit of a touch and go week, but I just loving life. What's going on? All right. Went down to Bombo Quarry and met you. That was Phoenix. Good stuff. How long ago was that? When did you meet me down there, Phoenix? It's been a while back. Trying to think who I've met. Lots of people out and about. It's amazing how many people you bump into when you're out and about shooting, isn't it? Like, especially sunrise. There's not many people around, so it's easy to spot people, isn't it? And come and I always am very happy to say good day to people. If you do spot me, come and say hello. Come and have a chat. To be completely honest with you, I'm really I have not been out shooting for weeks, and since Vivid, maybe 4 weeks, 3 weeks. And I've got photos still from Tassie I haven't processed. I've got photos I want to print. I haven't printed anything for a month. Yeah, I shot a rum. Yeah, I've actually even got the wrong coffee cup this morning. Normally I have the Pixel Chatter, but this morning I've this one here, which is still a great cause. So this is a ride that's on every year where we go and support the Cancer Foundation. So a very important event. All right, let's have a chat about a few things. First of all, I want to say thanks to the Patreons for supporting the channel. If you want to become a VIP, a very important photographer, the way you do that is down below in the links. But simply go to patreon.com/on3legs. That's with the number 3. And it'll explain to you how to become a Patreon. And you get added to a private community and you get to come and hang out with us there. We have VIP challenge, and yeah, it's just a good community. Great place to hang out, and makes it a lot of fun. All right. Now, I got a question via email for Gary Fallow. So, Gary, I don't know if you tune into this show. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I thought it was a great question. The question was about filters on bulbous lenses. Now, I don't know if you know, but this is my Nikon D850. And this here is a cover that Lee Filter give you when you buy their filter kit. Okay, and the reason for that is the original cover that comes, I don't even know if I have it here, I don't think so. The original cover that comes on this lens doesn't fit once you put this ring on. Okay, and unlike some of the filter kits, with the Lee filter kit for this big bulbous lens, you have to leave this on permanently, or you have to spend time taking on and off, which is a bit of a pain because it's just a pain, so I don't do it. So I leave that on. Now, the reason you put this on is it allows you to put filters into this lens. So I'm going to show you how that works. If you haven't seen it in my YouTube videos, we've got this great big filter here. It goes over the top of this. Okay, once it sits on there, you just tighten that up. And then we have this filter kit which can be rotated. And inside of there's a track for 2 filters. So if I get my filters out, which I have in here, and the downside with these is they're huge. I mean, look at the size of these things, right? They're huge. So if I was to grab a filter out, let's grab one out. What have we got here? So it's a graduated filter. So you can see how big they are, right? You see the reflection of my light there, it's better. So you can see how big they are. 150mm across, right? But they have to be to work in this kit. So slide that in there, like so. Oh, it's coming loose, that one. Slide that in like that, and there we go, we've got a filter. Now that works on the bulbous lens. There's a rubber behind here. If you have the Gen 1 holder of this kit, you can buy this rubber piece separately, which is what I did, because I had this kit before they made the Gen 2. That stops light going in there. It used to be a big problem. We used to have these funny shutters that would go on the back to stop that from being a problem. Okay, so the question that Gary asked is that, okay, well, that's great for that lens, or any bulbous type lens, but then what do you do if you have like a 24-70 or a normal 77mm thread? So for example, this here is my 24-70 and it has a 77mm thread on the front. So you'll notice that this kit is a little bit big, doesn't fit. So you've got 2 choices. One is you use a screw-on filter. Now I do that if I'm using if I'm just using my ND filter, which is like an 8-stopper, or I'm using a CPL, I just use a 77mm screw-on. It saves me getting all this kit out. However, if I want to use graduated filters on this lens, I've got 2 choices. Sometimes I will just do this. I'll just hold it with my hand to save me getting everything out, because it's quite a lot of work and effort to put all this on. However, Lee filters make this here. I don't know if that's going to focus or not. Oh, tried to. Nearly did. Come on. You can do it, camera. Anyway, that says SW150 to 77mm. There you go. Sort of focusing. So this is the adapter that goes onto a 77mm lens. So it's got a thread inside there, and you screw it on like that. And then what happens is you get your big filter holder, you slip it on like that, and then you can put your filters on your 24-70. Same thing. Or any lens. So you can see there now, that's my 24-70. So any lens with a 77mm thread, you can use that on. So it all works. And I think, look, to be honest with you, I don't know if there's a better solution. There is a filter kit that I've seen that I think Nissi makes. There was a fellow at my Cradle Mountain workshop that we were at that had a Nissi one, and it was a much better kit for attaching to the 24-70, but I don't know if it adapts to, or how it adapts. I know it does adapt to the other lenses with a 77mm thread, but I'm not sure how. So one of the challenges with this one is you do always have to have this on your 14-24 or your wide angle lenses, where with the Nissi one, it actually fit over, and then you sort of screwed something and it clamped on. And then, so when you weren't using it, it wasn't on there. You might be thinking, well, it's not a big deal, but it makes it quite front heavy. Having said that though, I mean, have a look there. You can probably see the thread has got a mark there. See that there? So that's where it's been banged on a rock. So it's a nice sturdy ring made out of steel that stops your lens from getting damaged as well. Let me just put this cover back on. So there are advantages if, to having that on. And Lee Filter give you this. Okay, they give you this neoprene cover to go over it. So when you put it in your bag, and I suggest using it, you'll see, I've had it for several years, but you can see where it's starting to cut through the cover. So that ring is quite sharp and will cut through the cover, will cut through inside of your bag as well. And then with this part of it, to store this, you just put that ring adapter inside it and tighten it up so it just sits like that. And they give you a bag for that as well. So you just sort of sit that in this bag. And the big problem with this kit is it's just bulky. There it is there. I'll put it next to my head so you can see. It's huge, right? It's huge. It's a huge kit. And which also means it's expensive. So for example, the 10 stopper, the lead 10 stopper filter, I think it was about $350 just for the filter. Same with the CPL filter, $350. And then they all come in their own little bag, but I like this carrier. Let me put my graduated filter back in the right spot. I like this because when I'm shooting, it goes, I put this around my tripod and it just hangs there and keeps everything in a nice spot. So Gary, hopefully that helps you and anybody else thinking about filter kits. But we are getting into a day and age where filter kits may become redundant. I think with the dynamic range of these cameras, and I know Nissi and Lee don't want me to say that, but I'm finding myself shooting with them less or needing them less because the dynamic range is amazing, you know. So I think it just really depends on what you want to achieve with your photos. I think I use them out of habit more than anything else these days. Now, if you want to let less light in to slow your shutter speed down, okay, you're always going to need them. But even that, I'm wondering if at some stage they'll have lenses that do that. I mean, we've seen these. I don't know if you've seen those windows that you can press a button and it frosts them or tints them. You know, we see it in glasses now. You know, people wearing eyeglasses that go dark. I can't remember what photo something. I can't remember what the terminology is, but there's a technology that darkens glass when the light hits it. So I'm wondering if at some stage they can build that technology into a lens. So right now you've got VR, and you know why couldn't they now be doing VR and also do variable lenses, and where the front element, for example, could do different things. And that's the technology I think we're going to see in the future anyway, where you would have a lens on the very front, or a piece of glass on the very front of your lens that would darken, or could be a graduated filter. And just, maybe with the jog wheel on the back of your camera, you could adjust the height of the gradient, and the front might, adjust the darkness or something. I think it's coming. I reckon that type of technology will come. I've seen with I think it's Zeiss lenses, I think maybe, or maybe no, I don't think it's Zeiss. But I have seen the lenses now that are on the Sonys, and they have the digital readout on the top of them for focusing, and stuff like that. That technology is starting to come to photography, and so I think we're going to see a lot more. Photochromatic. I think you're right, Aussie Paul. That sounds right. So I reckon at some stage we're going to see photochromatic lenses on our cameras, and I wish I had the money to develop it, because I think it would be a really good innovation. Imagine that you buy a lens that you don't have to worry about bolting any accessories onto the front of to get the results that you want, and can change like that. So, imagine you're taking photos and all of a sudden you want to stop down the light by, let's say, 10 stops, and you put the 10 stopper in and you work out that that's too long an exposure, and you just, instead of having to muck around, you just wind the dial and you get 6 stops, or you get 3 stops, or 1 stop. Imagine that. How good would that be? And then you go, well, actually, I want 10 stop at the top and I want 6 stop at the bottom. Imagine you could do that. So maybe I'm dreaming, but I would love to see that. I think that would be a great invention. And if I had the money, or if I was a lens manufacturer, I would be putting my time and effort into that research, because I think as photographers, that would win me over for sure. If you sold lenses like that, I would switch in a heartbeat. Because I think you could sell those for more than other lenses, but with less overall than buying lenses and filters. That would be my opinion. Anyway, I think so. Anyway, let's have a look at the comments and see what everyone's thinking about these things. Wow, I was very busy in the comments this morning, which is good. Where did we get to? Aussie Paul. Michael Power. G'day, Michael. Sunrise. Phoenix says sunrise. Is it Grant? Is that your name, Phoenix? Grant? I think I met a Grant down there last time I was down there for sunrise. You can let me know if that's right. Or something like that. Started with G. Grant, Gary. What else could it be? Glenn? No. It was like a Grant or something like that I met down there. Nice guy. Nikon shooter. I remember that much. Both Nissi and Lee make an adapter for the Ollie 7-14 Pro around $200. Yeah. I think if you're going to use these big filters... Now, this lens is just magic, right? So I have tried the 17-35. I've tried the 16-35. And this lens just outdoes them for whatever reason. And I think I sold both those lenses actually, the 16-35, and I've just stuck with the 14-24. I am really seriously, and I know you're going to shoot me for this, really, really seriously thinking about going to either Sony or Fuji. I loved the GFX system. Loved it. And it's a bit lighter than the D850, the 50R. But I also got my hands on a Sony A7R3. And it's not to take photos with, but I was one of the guys, as I said, on my photography workshop, had one. Nick had one, and I got to have a play with it, and I was really impressed with how they've upped their game, and it is so much lighter than this Nikon. And as I'm getting older, I mean, I've lost 26 kilos, so that makes up for my pack now. That's more than my camera pack ever was. So maybe I need to get out there more, which is part of why I haven't been out doing sunrises, because every morning I get up and I exercise. Anyway, that's another story. I was watching Andy Mumford do kit review recently. He uses screw-in now to save weight. Yeah, and I think it's a difficult thing for a landscape photographer to decide. I think the thing is, if you're going out somewhere where you know what you're going to shoot, you can just pack what you need. The problem is when you travel, you never know what you need. So I typically, when I travel, I will travel with my 14-24, my 24-70, my 100mm macro, and my 45mm tilt shift. So there's 4 lenses. And sometimes I'll throw in the 70-200. So now we're getting crazy, right? So you've got to really, I think, as a photographer, decide what's important to you and what are you going to take. And that's if I'm flying. If I'm in the car, I don't care. And as I build my touring rig, which I'm going to start filming, hopefully, maybe I'll do the first video tomorrow of the rig so everyone can see the new rig. Now that I've sort of got to my first ultimate goal of weight loss, I'm going to get back out there and start taking photos again. I just really wanted to focus on my health and getting my pilot's license back, which I've done. And to be honest, I was a bit burnt out with doing the vlogging. And I think I'm not the first YouTube vlogger to say that. These live shows I thoroughly enjoy doing, and so it's been good to be able to keep these going. The VIP group's still vibrant, but the vlogging, you would have noticed, has slowed right down. I have got some to edit. I just got a bit burnt out, so I need to get back into it. I really do enjoy it, but what I don't enjoy is the hours it takes to edit my vlogs, and I think I was trying to make them too technical, too many cameras, too many B-rolls. So I'm just going to cut it back to the basics. And if you don't like it, then give me a thumbs down. If you like it, you'll give it a thumbs up, Like, it's how it is. But I think what's more important is the lessons that you get. And I see so many vloggers get burnt out. When there was a vlogger in the US that took his own life, he was that depressed and burnt out from trying to keep up with it, So it can take its toll. And so I want to use it as a way to share my passion, and I don't want it to turn my passion to something that I don't enjoy, which I'm sure none of you would want either. So for me, that's really the thing. Let's have a look. Which Ollie do you have? A photochromatic, I think it's called. Yes, we got to that. Oh, okay, Ren. Ollie EM1. So people going to the Olympuses, yeah. Software should be able to adjust around objects like edge detection. Yes. Nice to dream. Yes, it is. Hang on, I think my dog's trying to get in for his bed. Here he is. Come on, Banjo, come in. I'll just grab him. Hang on. Here he is. This is Banjo, and he was sniffing at the door. I kept the door shut because it makes him bark if I'm in here talking and he doesn't know who it is. He's diabetic and he's blind, and a bit deaf. But his bed's in here. His bed's in my studio, so he wants to go to bed. There you go, mate. So he'll be happy now. Oh, don't bark. That's the problem with letting him in here. He's going to bark now. Just stay quiet, buddy. So, yes. Time for some macro, Ben. Yeah, well, Gareth. That was it. Gareth. I knew it started with G. Sorry, Gareth. Good stuff. Nice to dream. I think computational photography will gain more traction in camera bodies rather than lenses. Yeah, well, we saw the one where you could change the focus, but that whole thing fizzed out. I can't remember the name of that camera, but it was like a big rectangular camera, and you could take a photo and you could move the focus point after you'd taken the photo. Yeah, hello, Banjo. Yep. Yeah. There's been a few Aussie vloggers that have backed off with their content this year, yeah, because it's a lot of work, and regardless of what people think, you do it as a passion. You certainly do not do it for income. You do not make a lot of money from being on YouTube unless you've got maybe 1 million subscribers, and it's about views, and so it's not about that. I think it's about sharing your passion. It's another tool for creation. And it's interesting as a vlogger, it becomes almost like it becomes a task rather than something. And that's what it became for me. I felt like I had to put content out all the time because of the way that YouTube treats the algorithms. If you don't put content out, I wasn't getting views, and then it wasn't, I was thinking, why am I doing this? And so I think it's just got to be the occasion. I'm not going to promise anybody regular content. You see some vloggers, they do it full time. They're getting content out every Wednesday and every Sunday or whatever, and that's fine. Good luck to them. And I think it's great that they're using it as a business. But for me, it's certainly not. I don't want to make it a business. I just want to enjoy doing it. Banjo's having a little grumble down there. Banji boy, hey, shh. Try and get him to settle down. He's a good boy. Yeah. Alrighty. Michael Power, I've been thinking of moving to another system due to weight of what to hike with my Nikon, but thinking of moving to an XT3. Yeah, the XT3, I actually haven't shot with the XT3. I've played with it. I had the XT1 for a long time, and really love the XT1. Love the Fuji gear. And that is another option. I mean, I've got all my Fuji lenses still, and I've got an XE1, which I won't get rid of. I love it. It was my first mirrorless camera ever. So it's sort of got a special place in my heart as well. But I just love it. The little XE1, such an underrated camera. And when I bought that, I also bought a stack of lenses that were made in Japan, because back then that's where Fuji was making them. They make them in China now. So I've got the original Japanese-made lenses and the XE1. And if I'm just going out for a bit of fun, it's such a good camera. But I like the full frame for whatever reason. I like the detail. He's just settled down now. He's having a lie down. I like the full frame. I like the resolution of the bigger sensor. And that's what drew me to the medium format of the Fuji. So the GFX 50R, I really, really liked that as well. And I've got the videos that I've got to edit and put up. In fact, there's the one of me dropping the 50R, so that's got to go up on YouTube. I think everyone would like to see me do that. Litro, that was it, Rick. You got it. It was a Litro. Banjo is so cute. My little Pip would love him. Yeah, no doubt. He's just getting old now and chills. He does more sleeping than doing anything else. Balance working full-time, creating content is a challenge. I started, but I think you need to have a few on the go at the same time, still planning. Yeah, it is hard, Tim. And the other thing that's happened for me, I don't know if you've all noticed this. A lot of you connected me on my personal Facebook page, which I'm more than happy for you to do. I've really got passionate about my health, and I found a program that worked really well for me. I've been on so many different diets, but this program worked well for me. I've lost 26 kilos. I'm never hungry. I eat real food, and I don't have to go to the gym or boot camp. And I think for me that was a real revelation. So I have decided to become a coach. So I'm now coaching a few people as well, but that's taken up a bit of my time. So, I'm trying to balance that as well. My business also last year, my business coaching and training company, for those of you that don't know that about me, I'm not a full-time photographer. I'm a pretty prolific photographer. I probably do more shoots than most people, but it's not my full-time gig. I haven't done that this year. So I have a business coaching and training business that I franchised last August, and so that's been keeping me really busy as well. And so as we launch that, and I have to work with my franchisees and build new systems and really support that team, it's really important that works well, because that's what pays the bills. So, it's not a sob story, it's just reality, right? So we all have life, and then we've got family as well. And, I'm quite fortunate in the fact that my kids are now older, so they don't rely on me as much, but I still like to spend time with my family, and I think so. It is a balancing act, isn't it? I think it is always about balancing. Yeah, always about balancing. But I love doing the workshop. So I did mention last time I was going to put a macro workshop on, and I still haven't scheduled that. I've got 2 venues in mind. I've got a friend who has a property out in the southwest of Sydney. I want to go and check out and see if I could do it there. Or do I go up the mountains and we do something up the mountains, but do a macro workshop? And I love doing the workshops. Like, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed being in Tassie. And I think it's just enjoyable. So I'm seriously considering going back to the Tarkine next May in Tassie, and maybe just putting a group of VIPs together if someone wants to come with me. And just, we just all cover our costs. I'll just work out that. I'll organise it all, but we'll just split it up and off we go. Because it's just a lovely spot if you love, macro and landscapes and waterfalls, and you just can't beat it. All right, try the Nikon Z, lighter than the D850. Yeah, I had thought about that, and I had played with the Z7 with a pre-production model. I had to play with one. Wasn't allowed to keep any of the files off of it or anything. But I had thought about it, but I'm a bit hesitant because it's a whole new system, new lenses and everything. So I'm thinking if I'm going to do that, maybe I'll go to the Sony and I'll buy. They're all manual focus lenses, but the lenses I'm thinking of, is it Zeiss? Might be Zeiss, or for some reason I'm thinking it's another brand of lens. But anyway, really thinking about that. All right. Nitro was open invitation to anyone in the VIP group to add you as a friend on Facebook. That's Aussie Paul. Send him a friend request. Phoenix, I'll give you a macro workshop. What do you mean by that? You'll give me one. I'm not sure what you mean. You run macro workshops, do you? Brian says, "G'day, Anthony. Do you think there's a lot more wrinkles on your screen this week? A lot more wrinkles? Why has he got wrinkles? Or am I wrinkly? Am I getting more wrinkly?" I'm looking over here at my monitor. Am I looking? Been shooting macro a week. Bugs just because weather has been horrible. Yeah. Am I getting wrinkly? Maybe I am. Losing weight means my face is not stretched. I don't know. Is that what you're talking about? I got told I looked younger, which I liked. All right, let's look at the VIP challenge. So as a VIP, a very important photographer, we run a challenge on the Facebook group where we put up photos, and let me have a look here. Where we put up, we set a challenge, or the winner of the previous challenge sets a challenge, And then that challenge is then... Oh, that's the wrong one. And then everyone takes photos in that challenge, and then the challenge winner is announced by the boss. So this week's challenge was chosen by Laurel Box, which is Aussie Lol 66. Gosh, that's a hard username. Anyway, Laurel chose the theme of jetty or pier, and I thought, to be honest with you, I thought there would be a lot more entries. I mean, there was a lot. There was about 18 or so, but I thought there'd be more entries for that one because everyone loves a good jetty or pier. A bit harder for some of us that are nowhere near jetties or piers. Hey, Paul. Or maybe there's one in a dam there somewhere. I don't even know if you have a dam. But let me share my screen. Here we go. All right. So the theme was jetty or pier. And the VIPs shoot images and then we pick a winner. So let's go through the shots that were there and who took them. So this was Anthony Younghusband. Nice shot. I wouldn't want to get on that pier. Eh? That one looks like it might be a little bit unstable. Laurel Box. Beautiful. Under the jetty. Under Seaford Pier. So Laurel's shooting with the Z6. Beautiful. Brian Willett. Beautiful. Nice rough looking morning that morning. Matt's Sandquist. No description for that one either, but nice simple shot. Pier going into the lake. Brian Willett, a pano of that same location. Love a good pano. Ren Thielen. Sort of abstracty one with the white posts. Laurel Box, Seaford Pier. Same pier, but off to the left this time. Beautiful. Tim Trim, sunrise at Palm Cove Jetty. Yeah, that's a nice spot, isn't it? Palm Cove. Lovely. Stephen Cast, Orangan Pier in Harvey Bay, Queensland. Gee, that's a long one. I like that one. That looks good with the lights on too. Good time of day to shoot that. Nice. Stephen Cast, the Ohua Wharf in Oho Beach, which is near where he lives. Therese Elsie, resting in the pastel tones of sunset. I wonder what sort of bird that is. But anyway, resting on the pier. Some sort of water bird. Therese Elsie, Afternoon Delight. Where's that one? That one looks like Tuggerah Lake somewhere maybe. I like it. I'm a model. Therese Elsie, you know what I mean, on the catwalk. So I won't sing it, but there are lyrics from a song. I'm too sexy for my something. I'm too sexy for my... Yeah, you get it? Anyway, good one. And Amanda Keys. We don't have many jetties or piers. I'm not a great landscaper by any means, but hey, for the fun, this is the sand pumping jetty. Nice. Amanda Keys, a day trip to the penal settlement of St Helena, just off the coast of south of Brisbane. Beautiful. Ren Thielen, his new OMD Olympus camera, the M5M11, with the kit lens, 12 to 50, 3.6, but good and sharp. Yeah, the Olympuses are great little cameras if you can get your head around the menu system. I find their menu system difficult. Greg West, jetty at Sunset Beach. Nice. Greg West, Salamander Jetty. Nice shot. Amanda Keys, just a twist on the theme, sand pumping jetty. Wow. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Very arty. And that's it. All right. So let's go through and find the runner-up. There's the runner-up. Honourable mention. The boss said this one was a good one. This is Matt. Well done, Matt, for being the runner-up. We'll put a note in here. Congrats for winning honourable mention, Mats. That's that one. And then the winner is this one here. Winners are grinners. Congratulations, Anthony, young husband. Congratulations, Anthony, on winning this VIP challenge. You get to pick the next theme. There we go. I'm just typing as I'm talking. So we'll wait and see what Anthony picks next for our next theme. But that was Anthony's there. Beautiful colours. Nice shot. Nicely composed. Nice leading lines. Can see why the boss was attracted to this one. Good job, Anthony. But good job to everybody for getting involved and enjoying it. We had a birthday as well in the VIP group during the week, which was you, Paul. So happy birthday. He says not too many piers or jetties out that way. Water for that matter. Shirt. Shot? Shirt? I'm not sure what that's about. All right. But happy birthday, Paul. Yes, nice shots. Okay. Yeah, well done. Now, I did, and I know, Brian, thanks, mate, for your reminder about the editing challenge. For some reason, I had it about 2 weeks ago. I had a lot of messages coming through, and I was having a real busy day, and I tried to mute my messengers off my Facebook page for a period of time, and I thought I muted them for 8 hours, but actually muted them forever. And so I didn't get the messages, and Brian is really, really good at reminding me if I sometimes forget to stick up the challenge. And he did send me a message, so apologies, Brian, for not responding or putting that up. But I've had I had a busy week, and then I haven't been well this week, and so my brain, to be honest, I have not been. I've been making mistakes, simple mistakes. But I think I'm definitely better today, so I'm a bit more onto it. So very, very sorry that I didn't put an editing challenge up, but let's make sure I do it today, eh? I'll put one up and give you something to edit. Yeah, well done, Anthony, and those who entered. Nice image. Yeah, congratulations to all of you for entering, because it meant you got out with your cameras and took a shot. Now, if you want to be in the VIP group on Facebook, you need to join as a Patreon first and support the channel, and that lets you into the VIP. Or if you come on a workshop with me, you get access to the VIP group as well. Either way, gives you access to the VIP group. So if you've been on a workshop, you can join. If you have otherwise, just join on patreon.com/on3legs with the number 3, and you can join for as little as $2 US a month, and that gets you access to the VIP group. And it's a great group, and I find that I get a lot of people trying to join that aren't VIPs, and I have thought about starting another group, but I'd rather just keep it because the quality is very high. So we don't have a million people in there. There's no spamming going on there. Everyone's really supportive, and everyone gets good time with each other. So I think that small quality group is what I want to keep it as. So if you want to join the group, feel free to go and join the Patreon page, and you can get into that private group and come and join us. Come hang out with us. It's a lot of fun. All right, so I have got a couple of critiques to do this week, which is good. Now, if you want to get an image critique on the show, by the way to do it is it's down below in the link, but you can email your images to me. Now, a few people have emailed me WeTransfers that expire. Now, the problem with that is when I get an email in for a critique, I flag it and put it into a folder, and then each week I go through that folder and I pick a couple to critique on the show. And quite often with these WeTransfers or other apps that do that, if they expire, I don't have the image anymore. So please just send me a JPEG of the image. It's fine. 3,000 pixels on the longest edge is the smallest I want it, and just email me the actual image. Either that or a Dropbox link is okay as well. I find Flickr links are no good, too hard, and WeTransfers expire. And I know I make it a bit hard for you, but that's the best way. Just email me the picture or the Dropbox link to download the picture. So Rick is asking, is focus a bit off? Quality of feed has changed. Yeah, I'd be interested to know. To me, it looks all right on my phone, and it looks all right in the software that I monitor it on. So hopefully it's all good. Looks sharp. Looks sharp. I think it's good. Don't know. You tell me, guys. You tell me if you think something's changed. I'll give you a close-up. Give a bit of that. Did it stay focused? I don't know. Anyway. Don't know. Hopefully it's in focus. The writing looks... Yeah, it's definitely in focus. The writing on my shirt's nice and clear. I'd say maybe it's your internet speed, maybe. Or it could be mine. Let me check. Let me just check and see what's going on with my feed. I tend not to check it anymore because I get upset when I see how slow my internet is. But at the moment it says stream status is good. So it should be all good, mate. Should be all good. Okay. So now I got sent a couple of images from you, Brian. I'll put one into the critique. I don't know if you sent them to me for critique. So if you don't want me to critique it, just let me know in the chat. But if you're happy for me to critique it, then let me know and I will. I'm pretty sure he sent it to me for critique, but I'm not sure. He didn't say that clearly, but I thought I'll add it in because it's a great image of a jetty. So you let me know if you're comfortable with me doing that. If not, that's okay. All right, so the two images that I've got, this is the first one that I've got. This is Rob Roy. And then this is the one from Brian Willert that he sent in. So we'll start with Rob's. Yeah, sometimes I think this camera... it's on auto exposure, and I think what that does is, if I can maybe, let me see if I can adjust it. What it does, Logitech, it does have an app, Logitech. How do I spell it on that? No, but I took the app off, so sorry, I can't, it's not there anymore. It has an app to control it, so maybe I can change things. Go for it. All right, thanks, Brian. G'day, Paul. Better late than never. Okay, so this one here was from Rob Roy. Rob says, hey, Ben, this was taken on an overcast day in the mid-afternoon. It was a bit of a hike to get there, but was worth it. And this is just one of the many falls in the area. It's a place called Silverton, Oregon, USA. Fortunately, there wasn't a huge crowd visiting. The details of the shot are... So shot on the Nikon D850. Just drinking the rest of my coffee because it's a bit cold. Anyway, Nikon D850, 24-70 2.8 lens at 58mm. Shot at f16, shutter speed of 6 seconds, ISO 64 on a tripod with a Nissi circular polarizing filter and using a wireless remote shutter. All right, cool. So, he said 58mm, but I've got 36mm on the EXIF data, so we'll go with that. 36mm, maybe, but definitely f16, and 0.6 of a second. Sorry, not 6 seconds, 0.6 of a second. I read that wrong, so it's 0.6 of a second at f16, 36mm, ISO 64. So technically, everything is good. From a technical point of view, I probably would have done something similar. You've probably had to go to f16 to get the slower shutter speed that you want. Ideally, you want to be back at the f11 or something like that, f9. But if you want to slow the shutter up a bit, you've got to go to a higher f number to get that water movement. So that's good. And besides that, look, it's all pretty good. And I can imagine you're a fair bit back from this. There is a bit of movement happening. I don't know how well you can all see this. Let me zoom in here. As usual, I'm trying to use my mouse as opposed to my tablet. Anyway, you can see this foliage here is not clear and it's blurry, and that would be because it was probably blowing around. And this is one of the things I talk about quite often with waterfalls is it's a battle of the shutter speeds, because you want the slower shutter speed to get the movement here in the water, but you want a sharper shutter speed to get the foliage all nice and sharp. So it's one of those things that's a bit of a challenge when it comes to shooting waterfalls, but something to keep in mind. The other thing you're going to get with any sort of light, I can see it's overcast, but still a fair bit of brightness down here, darkness up here, so the light's a bit uneven, which is going to happen when you shoot in the middle of the day or any time. It's a bit. This is done at 20 past 1 in the afternoon, so even though it's overcast, the light still comes through based on where the sun is. So we need to think about that. So I would have been tempted to even possibly put a graduated filter in from the bottom, because you can see there's a definite line of where the light starts versus the dark. And we'll put one in Lightroom just so we can see. But otherwise, it's all good. Now let's jump into the develop module and let's talk about composition, because I think composition is the biggest thing here that we can improve. I think I would have shot it very similarly as far as the settings went, but my composition would have been a lot different. So there's a couple of things that I'm thinking composition-wise. First of all, we could have gone with vertical. Okay, so if I bring this in like so, maybe just bring this out here, and gone with something like this, with a vertical shot. It's too tight. So up here and down here, there's not enough space around where this main part of the falls hits, and that's a bit of a problem. So just something to think about when you're taking shots. Just try not to crop them in too tight, because you don't. It just, when they're too close to the edge, it just doesn't work for whatever reason. I think you just things need a little bit of space. Now in this shot, the real hero is this waterfall. So we want to make sure that it is sitting on something of significance. Now, if we look at the rule of thirds, these intersections, and I know I say don't follow the rules 100% all the time, but for something like this, I would have definitely made sure I would have put this here where all this here is down here where the water's hitting. I would have put this on this intersection here, and I would have had this coming up. I would have been doing my best to try and get it so that was on that intersection, and this would have come up more over here, something like that. And I'll give you an example. It's going to cut some of the falls out if I do this, but I'll give you an example of what I was thinking. I'm going to have to bring it right down. Yeah, it's going to be hard. But even with something like that, it's more interesting when something is on that intersection, and that's not working because, of course, it's too tight there. So just when you're taking a photo, just really take your time with composition, because composition is the thing that's hardest to fix later. Because you can crop, but you can't easily add stuff, right? Just very, very difficult. So that would be my first tip from a composition point of view. The other thing, you wouldn't have been able to remove this here, but I would clone that out, that stick behind this waterfall, just because it looks, it looks a bit distracting. Now, how easily we can do this, I don't know. Let's just play around with it. Let's do that one. Let's do this one on this side here. And we'll just see how that looks. Okay, so that stick is now gone. If we do the before and after, you can just see the difference. I've done it roughly, but good enough for you to see the difference, right? So you can see how different that looks. I just need to move that one over slightly because the water is not matching up 100%. Something like that. And you just see how the difference that it makes, right? So to me, that is, it makes a huge improvement visually to the photo. So don't be afraid to clone things out. And there's another stick here that's a bit distracting. So I would do the same on this one here. Just and find something you can add in there that looks natural. There we go. Same thing, once again, if we before and after, you can just see how it looks distracting. So I like to just get rid of anything that is distracting if I can. And I would do that in Photoshop and do it a lot more accurately, but I'm just showing you the difference that it can make. Let's also grab a graduated filter, and I'm going to do it on an angle where the light meets the dark. So if we just go here and drop the exposure down on the bottom a bit and just bring that up. Get rid of that. Let me just check that we've got the full image still. No, I have to cut the top off. Let me just get back up there. So we've got the full image. There we go. And you can see this side over here is still a bit dark. And I use graduated filters all the time to do this. Same thing, just bring that corner down. And what I'm doing is just balancing out the exposure. So now what I can do is go into my basic adjustments and just lift the exposure up overall. And you'll see the difference in a second, right? Let's just do that. And I'll just bring the shadows up a bit underneath there. Maybe not too much. Maybe an exposure back just a tad. All right. So if I now show you the before and the after, you can just see how it's more balanced it out. And it's still a bit dark here in the middle. So I might even dodge and burn that out. Or sometimes I could do, like, just adjust my, so I'll just bring it back a bit. See there, just to lighten it up. I made it too dark in the center there, maybe to there, something like that. Let's just go back to lights out and do a before and after. So before and after, before and after. Okay, and you sort of get a feel for it. It still needs a bit of dodging and burning here. But that's sort of what I tend to do to try and balance the exposure out. So the other thing you could do is do like a, so let's grab another filter from this side here. And this time let's do a range mask of luminance. And let's just grab the ones that are up high and bring those down a bit. And then what I'll do is I'm going to duplicate this one. And now I'm going to drag it over here. So this is my duplicated one. And that'll do the same on this side. Okay. So you'll see my right hand side is being affected the same way. So overall now I'm just getting it to be a little bit more even in its exposure. And then I can grab a radial filter in here, jump in the middle here, click the invert, and just bring that up a tad in there. So that little dark spot's not too dark. And you don't want it to be, I'm just going to duplicate that one and bring it over here. You don't want it to be too obvious. But this is what Ansel Adams did, like the dodging and burning. And once again, let's just put the lights out and go before and after. Okay, so just little changes really can make a big difference to the overall shot, especially if you're going to shoot in the middle of the day. Okay, so it just gives you some ideas as to what you can do really, really quickly. Vertical pano, someone had to say it. It's just the little things that you can do. Now, I would also go, well, if I want this water to be the hero of the shot, let's grab a brush and let's put clarity texture up a bit and just hit the water. Okay, and you'll see what will happen when I do this, around where the water hits. And I'm going to do just behind here in the middle, where the moss is. Look at that come to life there. And maybe the rocks up here, just to lead the eye into the shot. So there we go. Okay, once again, lights out. Let's do this and go before and after. Before and after. Okay, so it's just bringing it to life. Contrast overall, I think, could come up. I'm going to bring the highlights down a bit now. Bring the shadows up a tad. And just adjust a few things. I'm going to crop it. Which way will I crop it? I'm going to crop it in a tad this way. So it's more of a... now I feel like I should have gone the other way. But I don't have enough room to do it. Unless we go this way, make it more of a vertical 8x10 type size. So let's pick 8x10 up here. which is sort of the medium format size. There we go. Look at that. Now I might just do an auto adjustment. No, it's going too extreme. All right. So look at that. I mean, to me, that's now starting to get that look happening. I'm going to just cool it down a bit. I think it's a bit warm. The white balance just a bit out. Let's do a bit of dehazing overall. Just a bit. See how it changes the water around where the water is. A bit of vibrance there. A bit more contrast. There we go. So that's really quite simple. I think it's a little bit too vibrant. Let me just bring that back a bit. So let's do the same thing. Let's go lights out. Before and after. Before and after. So, sometimes it is, and I would really like to see a little bit more room down here. It would have been nice if I had a bit more space down lower. But yeah, that's starting to look a bit better. So just, when you think about it, don't be afraid to, really to take a lot of different shots. So when you're there, don't be afraid to take some wider, some narrower. And because once you get them home on the computer and you're sitting here with a cuppa, sometimes it's, you get some different sort of ideas and you go, geez, I wish I shot that. So I tend to shoot, landscape and portrait, zoom in, zoom out. I just try lots of different things, different shutter speeds, because you just don't know once you get back home on the computer what you're going to need to get your final image. And it is an art, right? It's not just about taking a photo. It's an art. So great shot though, Rob, and thanks for sending that in. Really liked it. Just looking at some of the comments. Rick says, the stream got back to better. Yeah, it's probably your bandwidth. Tim says, maybe the black and white will work given the time of day. Yeah, could have done. Amanda, g'day, Amanda. Hi, all very late. We'll watch again later. Thanks for joining us anyway, Amanda. That's cool. Vertical pano, someone to say, yep, that was you. Yes. Really good edit, Ben. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that, buddy. All right, so let's have a look at this one from Brian's. I'm actually not going to change a lot on this one. I actually really like the composition, and I'll tell you why this works. Now, first of all, the weather's, not what you would expect for a landscape photography day. So, as a landscape photographer, sometimes you just got to go with the flow, haven't you, right? So the weather's not always going to be in your favour, but it's about capturing the moment. And I just love the warmth of the light. I don't know what time of day it was. I'm going to jump into the XF and have a look. Brian didn't send me any real info, but I have got the XF. So this looks like it was in the afternoon, 12:45 in the afternoon on a pretty overcast looking day, but the light just seems really nice. So sometimes, you can find nice light at times you wouldn't expect it, and it's good to get out and take a shot. Now, I don't know if you could have moved more to the right slightly, Brian, but that would be the only thing I would say is just here, see how close these two things are together. It still works, but sometimes it's good just to get that separation. And because of what the parallax, as you move right, this gap becomes bigger in here. Okay, so that would be my only tip. But if we jump into, let's have a look at the technical details. ISO 64, 52mm, f11, 1/50th of a second. So all good. I'm going to assume handheld. Shot with the D810 and the 24-70 2.8 lens. I'm going to assume handheld because everything's nice and sharp. We've got the water hitting stuff, and it really does, show us the weather, what was going on that day. And we're going to jump into the develop module, and if we just quickly click the rule of thirds, there's a couple of things going on at why I feel this works really well. See this top line is on the horizon? You want to try and do that. I would have been tempted just to, go the other way. Just bring it down a bit. The sky doesn't have much in it. So I would have been tempted to maybe even pano it a bit. I know you did this with one of your entries in the Jetty comp, so you were already thinking this way. But I would have been really tempted to put the Jetty on that. Just see there where I've put the Jetty right on that intersection and that line. There's a weird little box here. I'd even probably just get that out. And then you've got this beautiful leading line leading up to this wave crashing and then jetty coming out up to the point. It just all works really well. So to me, something like that works really good. And it is hard to edit something that was on a dark day like that day. If anything, I would just maybe adjust the white balance just a little bit cooler because it's a bit warm. But I'm only doing -2. I'm hardly touching the white balance. The only other thing you could have done, which looks great on these days, is a real long exposure. And I know that Izzy does, ridiculously long exposures and gets everything to look smooth. But then you lose the veracity of all of this water. So you've got to decide what you want to capture on the day. But I think it captures the drama of the day, the dark sky, the waves crashing. I reckon if you're on this jetty, there's a good chance you would get wet this day. I don't know what the wind was doing, but otherwise, I think it's a pretty good shot. Look at, you're capturing that wave smashing there. Looks good. There is things like this. Now that I've cropped it, I can see this up here. I'd probably just try and clone that out somewhat if I could. Just bring the feather back a bit. There we go. Oops, I didn't mean to do that one. Okay. Maybe bring the shadows up a little bit. Even that, I don't think it needs it. Like I said, I'd be... maybe a little bit. I'm not going to do too much. Exposure, tad. Bit more contrast maybe. Oh, wow. Let's bring those whites back down. Not too much. There we go. Something like that. Bring the blacks down. Just the... yeah, now I'm going to warm it up. Just really natural. In trouble with the whites. 70 kilometer. Yeah. Wind was too... The only other thing you could do is to balance out the light. Maybe let's just put a... go. All right, are we back in action? I think we're back in action. He's back. Yep, we're back in action. All right. The joys of the internet. Still says I've got a bad stream. Anyway, thank you. Are we working? We are working. Thank you so much to those guys that sent their images in for critique. If you want to send images in for critique, it's down in the description. Explains how to do it. If you want to join the VIP group, simply go to patreon.com/on3legs and you can join as a VIP, a very important photographer. Now, I've got another announcement I want to make before I go, and that is that I'm going to change Pixel Chatter to Sundays. I'm going to try that. I've had a few people that can't tune in the US, etc., because they're at work, and I've decided I want to try and do Sundays. So it'll be the same time. Oh, we're buffering again. It'll be the same time on a Sunday. Let's see how we go. We're buffering. Let's see if we can just get this back on track. Can we get back on track? That would be good. Thank you, Internet. What is going on here? Internet. I think we're back again. Anyway, as I was saying, Pixel Chatter is moving to Sundays at the same time, same back channel, and hopefully some of the other people can join us on a Sunday morning. So it'll be, grab your coffee, put your feet warmers on, if you're in Australia, that is, during winter, and we will do Sunday mornings. So thanks for everyone for joining me, and I'm going to go before this internet stops working again. I'm hoping that maybe Sunday mornings the internet will be better. Who knows? Who knows? All right. Take care. Thanks again for joining me. And until next time, get out there and take some photos.